Congratulations to every single one of you who has received your GCSE exam results today. Whether you're feeling proud, relieved, surprised, or even disappointed, take a moment to recognize the hard work that you have put in this year. And I know that this year hasn't been an easy journey, particularly where we've seen the grade boundaries jump up this year. In some cases and some grades have gone up to heights that we've never seen before. The purpose of this video is to address something that some of you guys may be looking to do, and that is to get your paper remarked. Let's start with the why. A student may want to get their paper remarked because they miss the next grade, the past grade, by a few marks. Or perhaps a student got a grade that doesn't allow them access to certain A levels or sixth form places or apprenticeships. Or perhaps you just want to look good on paper. Maybe you are a student that has set your visions into the future, into maybe university places. And not having grade 8s or grade 9s would really hinder what you want to do later on in life. Or maybe you just want it to look good. Maybe you were a grade 8 student, but you ended up getting a grade 7 and you want to improve that. Now, there are certain cases where a school would cover the costs and you would cover the costs, but we'll discuss that later in the costings. Let's look at the when. When should somebody look to get their papers remarked? One of the most common questions I get asked by students is, I was this many marks away. Should I get my paper remarked? What I want you to know is this: if you were 1 to 3 marks away in GCSE maths, then this is an ideal situation to get your papers remarked, because you have to bear in mind that when you send your papers in to be remarked, your marks can go down. So if you are 1 to 3 marks away from the higher grade, then there's less chance of your grades or your marks going down and you getting a lower grade. Let's just hypothetically say you are 2 marks away, but you end up losing 2 marks. You'll still be in the grade boundary of what you achieved. Okay, there's no danger that you're going to lose so many marks, because in maths it's quite black and white. The answer is either correct or it's not. The working out methods were either there according to the mark scheme to give you X many, this many marks for this or whatever, or it's not. Okay, so it's quite plain and straightforward. And the risk of going down would be less, or almost zero if, I don't want to say zero because anything is possible, but it will be less if it's 1 to 3 marks away. You'll still end up with the grade if your marks don't go up. Next, let's talk about the cost of remarking your papers. Different exam boards will have their own pricing. So Edexcel will have its own pricing, AQA will have its own pricing. And usually it's around 30 to 40 pounds or 45 pounds or something like that. But please ask your exams officer to send you a price list and then you can decide. But the thing that you have to bear in mind is this: in GCSE maths, there are 3 papers that you might want to possibly get remarked. If you send in all 3, then let's just say the cost is 40 pounds each. That's 120 pounds. If your grades go up to the next grade, you will get that money back. But if they stay the same or they go down, your marks, then you lose all of that money. So it's like a financial risk or gamble that you have to consider. And this is something that you need to discuss with your parents. But the first thing that you should be looking to do is to download your papers, access to scripts, and you can get that for free. So school will simply go onto a website, download your paper and give it to you. The next step is to get somebody to look at it for you. And ideally that should be your maths teacher. But bear in mind, they are on holiday, so you might not be able to access them right now. But the deadline to do this is in late September. And you've got hopefully plenty of time as soon as school reopens. So you're likely to be very busy chasing your teachers on the first week back to school. But if you want to send in your papers, having looked at it yourself, then you could just email your school's exams officer and tell them, I wish to get this paper remarked or that paper remarked or all of them remarked. I'm happy to pay the cost or whatever. Now, something about the cost. Most schools will cover the cost if you're on that boundary grade. Because if your marks, or if your grade goes up from a grade 3 to a grade 4, a pass grade, it will boost the school's results overall. So it's in their best interest to cover the cost. Where a cost may not be covered is, for example, the grades going from maybe a grade 7 to a grade 8. That is something that doesn't really benefit the school in any way. You want it for your own self. So they're unlikely to cover the cost of that one. So you have to take the financial risk right there. But remember, your money will get refunded if your grade goes up in whichever situation you're in. Finally, there are two types of services that you can get done. The first one is a clerical recheck. And what that simply means is somebody just to add up and check that the marks have been added correctly, that all the marks from every single question that you earned tally up. That's it. Someone just checks that for you. The second type is a complete remark, where you get a fresh set of eyes, another examiner to look at the papers individually and just mark it again. And this will hopefully put to bed any fears that students have that their paper has been marked too harshly. Now, I do sometimes get asked by students about other subjects, and simply put, a maths teacher can't really give you advice for GCSE English. It's better to speak to somebody who's a GCSE English teacher because they will have better insights. So this video is just for GCSE math students. Whatever you guys decide to do next, know that I'm proud of you, and you should be too. Don't let this one number define your journey. This is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning of a new chapter. So stay focused. Your story isn't over just yet.